Welcome! I'm Johan Nilsson.
And I'm Lincoln Murphy, and this is Impact Weekly. We're here to help you make your customers successful. Each week, we answer your most pressing customer success management questions by relying on our years of experience with companies around the world.
Let's get this going. Hey, welcome back. It's time for another Impact Weekly. New question here coming in. One of our super users is doing a great job, but is going unnoticed by her colleagues and her manager. I'm worried that she will leave and that everyone will be worse off. Can I do something here?
Okay.
That's an interesting one. I think it's not the most common one, but I think it's not the most common question, but I would say it's quite common scenario.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I would say if we look carefully on our customer base and our portfolio, a lot of time the health of one customer can actually rely a lot on the health of one super user or ambassador on the customer side.
Absolutely, and it probably shouldn't be that way. But
No.
there are situations where that's just going to be the reality. So we really need to make sure that one person is getting that recognition that they need, that they
Yeah.
deserve.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think, and by the sound of this question, this person has been working with this super user for a while, and they are sincerely worried here now that this person might leave, and that would, of course, upset things both. Of course, as a supplier, that won't help, but it probably, as it sounds from the questionnaire, that things will be they will be worse off as well on the customer side. So,
Right.
I think it's really interesting question, this one.
Yeah, I actually, I like the question. This is, like you said, this is something that is relatively common. The question's not super common. This is a scenario that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
But I like this question because it's full of empathy. This is one of those things where when you're reading this, you're like, you really get that they're legitimately concerned that if this person who's doing a good job, who's not getting recognized, if they leave, and they would leave because they're not being recognized, that's empathy. You're understanding
Yeah.
the human person that is not being recognized for their work. But you're also looking at it like, it's not just making sure that they are getting that recognition and therefore are feeling better about themselves and feeling like they're being treated good, that this could have an impact on the customer, on their ability to be successful. This
Yeah.
isn't I have to retain this customer question, right? This isn't just about, if this happens, my customer leaves, so I need to fix that. This is, I recognize that if they're not successful, that they will churn. So we need to solve for that.
Yeah.
But we need to solve for that by making sure that the human that we work with is feeling, like they're getting the recognition that they deserve, that they're really contributing something to this. So I really like that, because yes, ultimately this is about saving the customer, but it's more about the customer's success and even more about the human person in that role and their success. And I really like that approach.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this person obviously is not being recognized. What can be the reason behind someone not being recognized if they're doing a great job?
Yeah. Well, that's sort of what we need to do is a root cause analysis on that a little bit, like what's going on there. Look, the reality is a lot of people, so in this case, our super user probably also fits this. A lot of people are uncomfortable with sort of self-promotion.
Yeah.
And yes, you can go over the top with self-promotion, but you sometimes have to just let people know that you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
And I wish it wasn't necessarily that case. I wish, it was just super easy for everybody else to know that you're doing a good job. And it's not like your manager probably doesn't know that you're hitting your numbers, that your metrics are okay. But they may not have the context, especially if you have a manager
Yeah.
who really just sort of manages by spreadsheet and doesn't really get to know you, which unfortunately happens. So
It,
they might look at the numbers and go, okay, this person's doing their job, but they
mm,
might not know exactly what goes into doing that job. That you go above and beyond, or whatever, to make sure that everything is happening. And then you're not maybe somebody that's really comfortable with
mm.
explaining just how much you do or how hard you work. And so that's one thing that comes up, I think, in these situations. And the other is, you have to figure out, like, is this a systemic issue where the culture is just not,
Right.
individual recognition just doesn't happen? Is it
Mhm.
that their boss, like I said, maybe just spends all their time in a spreadsheet and doesn't really work as a true leader or coach? They're just they're only focusing on the management aspect of being a boss.
Right.
um or is it really just a communication issue? Like,
Yeah.
the boss would love to recognize that this person is doing a great job, but kind of only has the metrics that are visible, and the context from the person doing all the great work is not there, because again, they're not being, they're not doing the self promotion that is
Mm.
required. So you kind of have to do that root cause analysis and figure out what's really going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think uh, this is uh, this is quite common, especially when you talk super users, someone being more like the admin person, the one keeping things together. That type of personality sometimes is not this super self-promoting person, and also someone that's like, yeah, just keeps things going and manages and just pulls through, and I think that's that type of personality you kind of see quite frequently in these type of roles. So I think more than one person out there will recognize this scenario.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is also, so that type of person will very often, and we're making some generalizations here, but what you generally see with that is, it's a person that will be sort of averse to self promotion, but really want that validation,
Yeah.
but not get it, and then start to resent their boss, resent their colleagues, resent the company,
Mm.
not really share any of that, and then they'll quit.
Yeah.
So and then in hindsight, the boss is like, oh gosh, I recognize I probably should have done something different there, but it's too late.
Yeah.
So how can we, as a CSM, or anybody else as an individual contributor on the customer success team, depending upon where you're at, working with the customer, like, what can you do to sort of empower or help
Yeah.
um, the super user, let's say, promote themselves without
Yeah.
without like, being a self promoter? Like, how can they share their
Right.
successes without actually sharing their successes? Like, what can we do here?
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly what the approach we want to take here. And also, I think, even if, I mean, in this question, this person is concerned about this super user, but nevertheless, if you have some key super users that are real strong ambassadors and doing a lot of work together, and yeah, really key for your customers, I think this applies to all of them. So you can use this, never, even if there's not like a concern about the person. I mean, this is something you can
Mhm.
really, you can do. I think we could think a lot more in these terms. So that's why I also like this question a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, just because things are happening, you kind of don't want to just rely on them to continue to happen. You want to, make sure that these are happening consistently. So if you have a super user that is, good at self promotion, you still want to do this to ensure that's
Yeah.
happening, consistently. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say just, I mean, this is of course very simple, but I think sometimes we forget this, that sometimes if we feel this way about this person and we see and we've been working with them for maybe years and that we've seen the efforts they've been all the efforts they've done and all the things they've achieved here and all the things they do for their for the company, the customer of ours, I think we should sometimes it's as easy as just to say that, tell
Yeah.
their manager. I mean, I if you've been in the business for a while, you probably worked with a lot of super users. Maybe you can just say, uh, Catherine here. I've been working with hundreds of super users through my years, and I would say she's in the top 5. She's doing this and that. She's just sometimes we kind of forget we need to tell people as well what we feel here,
Yeah.
even if they're a customer and even if they're maybe a C level or a high level manager on the customer side, they want to hear that, and they would
Hmm.
I would suspect that they will appreciate getting that from you. So
Can you
I would just
imagine
start
it?
off there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Get in an email from, essentially a vendor, right? Get in an email
right.
saying, hey, this person on your team, I just wanted to let you know. I mean, this is totally unsolicited, right? I mean, I just want to let you know that, I worked with hundreds of people in that role, and she's one of the best I've ever worked with. I just wanted to let you know that, just in case, um, she didn't tell you that, because I don't think she would. Like, just that right there,
Yeah, yeah.
just saying.
Oh,
I mean, that,
yeah,
that would be amazing. That's such a.
yeah.
And now, but here's the deal: this
Right.
is not a retention tactic. This is not a gimmick. If it's
No, no,
not genuine, don't say that. Don't do
no.
this unless
Definitely.
it's
No, no, no.
absolutely genuine. Because
Oh
that's
yeah. Oh my God.
that
Yeah.
can you if you're telling somebody, hey, this is the best person I've ever worked with, and they're like, I was about to fire them because they're horrible at their job,
Yeah.
maybe that's not going to look so good for you. But
No, no,
um,
no.
if
That's
it's
so
genuine,
definitely if it's genuine, and I think from what we could tell from this person asking the question, that was really the case. So
yes,
in,
exactly.
uh, sometimes it's very it's a simple answer to the question as well, to just be frank and say how you feel about it, because I my experience there is that probably the manager will be really they will really appreciate that, and that will probably change things really.
Totally. Yeah.
But I think,
Another,
yeah, but let's find some more things as well here to help this
yeah.
person, because but that's one, but I think there's more here we can do.
Well, I just, the other part of the question was that they're not getting, they're sort of going unnoticed by their colleagues. And I think one
Mm,
one way to sort of uh, help this with both colleagues and their manager would be, if you're talking to one of their colleagues,
mm,
you could actually ask them to put in a good word with the manager, to just say, hey, I really think
yeah,
that your manager should know, that the super user, Catherine, is doing a great job. I think it would be really cool if you sent them an email to say that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
what that does is twofold. One, obviously, the you're getting a note from a team member about another team member. That's a pretty awesome thing as a manager, as a boss. But now we're sort of reminding this colleague who maybe
mm,
hadn't noticed, or wasn't paying attention to how great this other person was. You're sort of reminding them of how great this the admin is, or how great
yeah,
this person is at their job. And it's just like little things like that can go a long way. Now, I wouldn't suggest doing all of these things at the same time. Then it seems too orchestrated and too contrived, and
yeah,
disingenuous, even if it is genuine. But over time, you can do a few of these things, and it starts to really add up. And again, it has to be legitimate, it has to be genuine. But that's just another thing that you can do. So to your point, Johan, like, you don't have to overthink this. You can just
no,
tell somebody, tell the boss, this person's doing a great job. Tell a colleague, hey, can you tell your boss how great this person's doing?
yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Uh, Definitely, and I think to like find more things into this that I think also applies a lot of time in our relationships with the customer. And this time, somehow, this lack of recognition, it can also be that we are not aligned here, or the job of this super user is not aligned with the goal the customer is trying to achieve here, or what the manager is looking at. So we might want to do some help there as well to get alignment around the KPIs, and how the work we do together with the customer, the work the super user is doing, how that builds up to them achieving their goal and performing well.
Right. So I mean, how is the super user sort of measured internally? What is your measurement of success? And
Yeah,
then if we can figure that out, then we can say, well, here's a way in our product. If they don't know, like here's a
yeah,
report that will show, how you're doing against that goal, and they could just show that report to their boss, so
right,
that they, or we could tell their boss to pull that report or send them a link. And now we basically, through the product, we're showing, that this super user is successful. So you could actually build
exactly.
workflows to sort of automatically communicate the successes, up the chain of command.
Yeah,
So that's a great way to make it happen, and that's all sort of, the super user could be doing that in the guise of just simply, showing the progress that they're making in their role.
yeah,
But in the side effect is that it's showing how good they're doing at their job, right? Which,
right,
you might think, well, aren't those the same thing? But they're not really. I mean, it's like, here's what I'm doing, here's this metric that I'm hitting, but we really also want to show, like, this is how well, the person is performing. And so anything that we can do to
yeah,
sort of empower that through the
yeah,
product. But I think it can go even further. So one of the things that we can do with our, especially our super users, is help position them as an authority
yeah,
in what they do. So if we have if we offer certifications,
yeah,
if we offer awards,
yeah.
industry awards, you see a lot of companies doing, like, uh, you know, uh, the top 50 influencers or things like that. Anything that we can basically,
Mm,
say, like, look, this person, that happens to work for you,
yeah.
they're recognized as a leader in this
Oh,
space.
yeah, yeah,
Like, that's really big. Or have them speak at your events, either your in-person events or get them on a webinar. Um, that's something that other people in their company will simply see and be like, "Oh, okay.
yeah.
I didn't realize that, this person. I didn't realize that Catherine was, like, recognized as a thought leader in her field. That's amazing." So
Yeah.
things like
No,
that can go a
that's
long way.
definitely. No, I think that's, I've seen that a lot of times, that actually they it's a little bit, sometimes it's I mean, it's quite horrible sometimes that you have to go, you have to appreciate them outside the company to get the appreciation internally, but that's sometimes how it is, unfortunately. And
Well,
think that's, I think
no,
it's
it's true.
I mean, and it sometimes it has to do with other things, that they're, everybody's really busy, and they really don't, they, I mean, there's too much to be done, so they can't pay attention or whatever. Never mind. I think it's a great way, and it's great for us. This is a key person for us. We want to make them shine, no matter what, but it also helps them shine internally in their company. So I think it's just a win-win there.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, so from a principles of persuasion or principles of influence, we always talk about Robert
Yeah,
Cialdini's work. Positioning somebody as an authority is a great way to get other people to listen to them, to recognize them. But you have some side effects there of, like, creating reciprocity. So if we
mm.
recognize them as a leader, they will advocate for us. And look, if they do end up leaving that role and going to another company,
Oh yeah,
the chances of them advocating for our product in that new company goes up significantly, especially if they have a certification attached to it.
Yeah.
You know, if they have an award that they won, I mean, like that's
Yeah.
a really that's a big deal. And so, you know, we
No, I
can't.
love that.
Yeah, I mean that stuff all plays into it.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, taking the real long-term view on customer success. It's looking at the individual users as like internal customers of ours, no matter where they are. I mean, I think that's touches on that topic, which I think is key as well. Have
For
to get
sure.
back to that one more. Yeah. Um, but cool. I think we have covered a lot here. Maybe we just summarize this for this person now. Really, how do you keep your key person or key super user? How do you make sure that they get appreciated, recognized? I think that was where this question was coming from.
Hmm.
So let's summarize in three concrete things to do here. So I'll start off. I think the first thing is what we talked about here, to bring attention to this person, make them an authority. And a very good way to do that is to invite them to participate in a webinar or even an event or a case study that you do that will definitely do the job there.
Totally. I think, you know, number two is really help connect the dots from the job that they do to the goal that they're helping the company achieve. You know, their boss should already see that, but you know, they're busy. They're working with a lot of different people. Let's help them connect the dots so that they don't have to think about it. It's just obvious. This person is helping us achieve this goal, and we recognize that they're doing that.
Right, super. And last but not least, I think sometimes it's as simple as that. If you really appreciate someone doing a great job and they are not really being recognized, help them by just saying as it is, telling be genuine here, of course, but tell that his or her manager how great they are. I think that sometimes that's all you need to do. So we'll be back soon with another question. Don't forget to post your own most pressing customer success question here, and we'll probably cover your question as well. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, thanks for listening. Do you want to bring your customer success to the next level? Check out Impact Academy. We have training programs for customer success managers and for leaders in customer success.